injury?
Well, I think that place I need to say good morning to you, to my good friend from London, and to Comrade Kosipra, wherever he is, and to our cherished viewers. I was taken aback when I heard the President of Kenya, William Ruto, give the blue light to the, or green light to the police to shoot demonstrators in the leg. I mean, and a little wonder that what he has said has been captured by major news outlets around the world, because this is very strange that a president who came to power through the ballot box, who had to convince the people of Kenya that he meant well for Kenya, who will go for a re-election in 2027, asks that voters, electors be shot in the leg, simply because he thinks that the demonstrators or demonstration has been organized by opposition elements. I mean, that clearly, like my brother has said, Philip London, that's not the best way to handle situations of this nature. And yes, the excessiveness of the brutalities meted out against the demonstrators has been condemned by all, including the United Nations. I mean, lethal ammunition have been used against demonstrators. And apart from 31 people being killed, more than 100 have been injured in the demonstrations that occurred just a few days ago. And about 532 people have been arrested. I mean, and so you can imagine, and it is still continuing. And it didn't start yesterday. You know, so many months ago, a couple of months ago, Kenyans were complaining about the conditions of life in Kenya, and life had become very difficult for them. Even the price of bread could no longer be afforded and all those things. And I think that when governments are elected into office, I mean, promising to do what is best in the interest of the nation, they should also understand that demonstrations and people venting their spleen on government is part of the democratic culture of all democracies. And so, and then to know how to deal with them. I mean, yesterday the government spokesperson, I listened to him on an international network. He was at pains to explain that the directive given by the president was intended to deal with people who were bent on burning down police stations and other businesses of other people. But that is not how it has come across. That's not how it has been reported. I mean, and if even the businesses of others are being targeted for burning, or police stations are being targeted at burning, the security agencies should be able to be deployed to protect those places and not shoot demonstrators. I think that's just unfortunate. I don't think that democratically elected presidents should act this way or speak this way. It's totally politically unwise to say that demonstrators should be shot in the leg. It says that, no, don't kill them. Shoot them in the leg, hospitalize them. When they when they recover from their injuries, we'll prosecute them. That's what William Ruto said. I mean, so I just think that, and then AU and all human rights organizations should be interested in protecting the lives and property of people in Kenya, and especially protecting the rights of the people in Kenya to demonstrate against their government. I mean, the president must know that people have an inherent right to voice out their dissatisfaction if they believe that the act of governance is not being run for their own benefit.
Thank you very much. We move away from Kenya. We come back to Ghana. There are lots of issues here. We'll start with the Ablum North by-election. The Electoral Commission of Ghana has proceeded to print ballot papers. That is because the court has thrown out that injunction petition against the Electoral Commission by the New Patriotic Party. They said they were thoroughly convinced that they had won the election remember the General Secretary of the party even, he held a press conference where he asked the chairperson of the Electoral Commission a few questions, and according to him, now they support Asiedu Nketiah's assertion that the Electoral Commission is not fit for purpose, and so there should be a reset at the Electoral Commission. Very, very interesting, especially when a few months ago the NPP did not have this same position against the Electoral Commission of Ghana. But Honorable Yunus Afuseni, I'm sure, has a lot to say on this matter, especially looking at also the legal side. They have said that they won't participate. What does this mean? Is the NPP candidate still going to have her face on the ballot paper, despite saying that they don't want to participate in the election, in the rerun of some of these polling stations?
So if they have communicated their decision not to participate in the Ablum elections, what we call runoff elections, earlier, I mean, in due time, the Electoral Commission might decide not to publish the...
So it's too late now?
Well, I think that it's too late because the ballot boxes, I mean, the ballot papers are being printed and the election is just 24 hours away, less than 24 hours away. And in any case, it doesn't detract from the fact that the elections will go on. I mean, you remember Ekuya Donko, she died. Yeah. We did the elections, her picture was there. This invalidates the elections. So I don't think that they have a point. But I come back to what I said little after the 7th December elections, and particularly somewhere in January when the MPP decided to go to court to compel the Electoral Commission to do a recoalition. I said that the Electoral Commission was wrong. Because you see, elections are regulated by law. And the law sets out the procedure. I mean, the law could never have anticipated that election of a parliamentary candidate can remain unresolved for 6 months at the polling station center or the coalition station. It could not have been within the contemplation of the law that should happen. That is why when they said recoalition, I said, how are they deriving their power to do a recoalition? How? And then the Electoral Commission actually went ahead. Now, they have come back to what we had said. The approach they had taken was wrong. See, when you go for elections, I mean, it is not for nothing that the whole electoral system has been designed in such a way that it builds from the bottom to the top. So you have polling stations. Election results are declared at the polling station. And particularly parliamentary results declared at the polling station, even though presidential and parliamentary are all declared at the polling station. What happens at the coalition center is the presiding officer or returning officer gathers all the results and collate them and declares who has been elected. That declaration, bless, is prima facie. It's not conclusive. That is why when a person is declared as having been elected in an election and he thinks that the declaration is wrong, all he has to do is to wait for the publication of the Gazette. Then you go to court and demonstrate why the declaration could not have been right. Tell me, if they had simply adopted this, the procedure stipulated by the law, this thing wouldn't it have been resolved by now? ABC, we told them that the way they had chosen was problematic, and now we are all confronted with a situation where 19 polling stations will be run out of the total number of polling stations. And why? And that is where the manifestation of the incompetence of the Electoral Commission comes into full view. Because the Electoral Commission posted presiding officers to all the polling stations and the electoral officers and pay them. They pay them. And their officers cannot produce not the ballot boxes and not the pink sheets. Their officers who.
Somebody has said that they should even be prosecuted. These
their officers. Yes. And the Electoral Commission is not telling us what they are doing with their officers. They have not been able. Not the ballot boxes, nothing. Now, every candidate in an election has a right to representation by an agent at the polling station. Not the agents of the MPP nor the agents of the NDC have been able to produce the pictures. Where have they gone? You see why you don't introduce uncertainties in an electoral system? Because this is what will happen. And you are setting a precedent for future elections unless the CI takes a new CI takes care of what is happening presently. For deciding not to contest the elections, the NPP have simply said that, well, it appears to them that they cannot win. And so it's better not to contest. Because Ablum has been their stronghold since Nkrumah was in Guinea. Since the Fourth Republic. And they have been winning, not so. So why do they think that they can't win? In fact, it is because they have been winning Ablum that gave them the comfort to believe that they will win or they won Ablum. And that nobody has ever beaten us here. But the 2024 election is unlike any other election. Who would have thought that KT Hamon would have been defeated in his own backyard? Who would have thought? You know, and so clearly things have happened in the 2024 elections that clearly shows that NDC probably won the Ablum North, is it North? Yeah, Ablum North constituency elections, but because MPP has been winning, just like you remember what happened at Wager. Yeah. Don't know Wager. Is it? You remember?
Yeah.
My good friend KOKU Jr. I said that, well, after the coalition, NDC will know its own level. Because they have been winning.
Yeah.
But after the coalition, it came out clearly that he had lost. Yeah. They had lost. So you see, I would have thought that MPP would have gone contest the elections and still go ahead if they have reasons to believe that because you cannot go to court and challenge the outcome of the elections if the results have not been gazetted. Okay, so I thought that they would have gone ahead to go and contest the elections, and then after the publication of the Gazette, they go to challenge the legitimacy of what had happened. But well, they say they won't go. So NDC will contest. NDC still needs numbers, huge numbers in Parliament, and so we might be adding one more seat to about 180 something seats in Parliament, and that is good. But it's a warning to all of us, and the incompetence of the Electoral Commission has clearly been manifested. And for the first time, both the NDC and the MPP have come to the conclusion that the Electoral Commission in this case is not fit for purpose. Can tell me, bless, Mr. Philip London, how can an Electoral Commission preside over elections in this Ghana and make sure that a group of people in Saint-Tropez, Akpafo, Lulubi, and Likwe will remain unrepresented for a whole term, and then not even an apology to the people. Not even an apology. And when they came to Parliament, and then I was in Parliament, and we were not seeing, they had not laid any CI for the creation of a new constituency in that area. And we're not seeing any arrangement to ensure that the people of that area was represented. A matter was raised, the late MP for, what's his name? Dr. Hilu raised the matter and said, look, these people might not be represented. The Electoral Commission said they were dealing with the matter. It came out that on the day of the election, or a day to the election, they wrote a letter saying that those people should not partake in the elections. And that was all. I had reason to believe that the Electoral Commission had become a law unto themselves. Because they can decide to disenfranchise people. And then still, they ought to have resigned by themselves. It's just so terrible, so unacceptable, so undemocratic, so unconstitutional that these people ought to have gone long ago. That the Electoral Commission, charged with the responsibility by the Constitution, I think Article 42 or so, to arrange public elections and referenda, will deliberately exclude some people from taking part in elections, and they're still there. Now, they went and gave to themselves the power, through the courts, the power to recollect. I don't see it anywhere in the CIs, to recollect. And now, again, they failed woefully to discharge their responsibility. And they still want us to maintain them in office. I think that after the elections in Ablum North, they should be shown the exit.
Some people have said that, I mean, you know, initially they came out to say that they needed police protection to collate some results. So why the different...
That even go further to show the, I mean, when the chairman has been actually invited to Parliament to answer questions, to report on the state of the election in that constituency. What the answers he gave and what has happened now clearly shows that either he himself didn't know what he was talking about, or I don't know how to explain it. Because when the parties went and met again, they found out that even the polling stations in contention were 37. 37. And the parties agreed. The parties in contention, that is the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, agreed that, okay, because certain scanned sheets had been mutually agreed by both sides, it should be reduced to 19, and the 19 must be rerun. The two parties agreed by their representatives with the Electoral Commission. So, which means that the position that the chairman or the chairman's representative, or had come and tabled in Parliament was totally wrong and misleading. Now, they go after the parties have agreed, and then the Electoral Commission now comes out and announces that we are going to rerun the elections in 19 polling stations. Well, the candidate, the MPP candidate, makes a statement that the party will not contest. Well, that is understandable. That's how she feels. So she can say that. But the party first makes a statement that they will not be contesting. Then another statement comes out and says, no, the party will contest. Meanwhile, the party's representatives have already given the assurance that they are taking part in the election. Then the issue is sent to court to try and secure an injunction to stop the process. Now, at the time when the General Secretary of the party had even announced that the party was not going to participate in the election, another person, a former MP, speaking on behalf of the party, stated categorically that the party will participate in the election.
Confusion galore.
So what kind of message is the party sending to the kind of people, the people who they want to vote for them? What kind of message is the party sending? Now, after all this, the party that has supported and defended the Electoral Commission even when people couldn't see why they should be defended, That party today says that the Electoral Commission is not fit for purpose and that the leadership must resign. So, what is the position? Simply because something didn't go your way, that the Electoral Commission is not fit for purpose. Well, at least it helps the case for those many people who have felt that the behavior of the Electoral Commission, starting from the situation my good brother, stated, how a whole constituency was not represented for a whole term, 4 full years. No effort was made. Or they always said we're making efforts, but nobody saw any effort being made to address the situation. It was most unfortunate. There was speculation that yes, if an election was carried out there, most likely the seat would have gone to the opposition at the time, which would have weakened the hand of the ruling party at the time in Parliament. So that was the consideration. But why should the Electoral Commission behave in a way that would fuel such a speculation? That would threaten or question the integrity of the commission. We've had the Electoral Commissioners. Afarijan was there. He went through, we saw his problems and how he responded to the various problem situations that arose. When a problem situation arises, the way the chairperson or chairman of the Electoral Commission would respond would give even confidence to both sides. Okay, we can trust this person to do the job.
Yeah.
But if actions are done in a way that do not give the same kind of confidence, naturally you find one party crying foul. And that is what has happened over these last virtually 8 years that they have been at the helm there, which hasn't helped us. So I just hope that everything will go smooth. Now that we've got to this point, and the election is just a stone throw away, we are now waiting for the election to happen. A very worrying disturbance observation has come to me that I heard the youth organizer of the New Patriotic Party virtually threatening that, as it were, all hell will break loose in that election. He dare not.
Yeah.
He dare not. I think even for making those threats, the police should invite it. Anybody, whether it is a youth organizer or whatever organizer of the National Democratic Congress or the New Patriotic Party or whatever party who makes such a statement should be invited by the police. What do you mean? What do you mean? It is an election. People are going to express their views. And you see, when there has been the main election, and for whatever reason, there is going to be another election within the same tenure, the people who are going to cast their votes have the opportunity to change their mind from the way they voted the first time.
Yeah.
And they can go in anybody's favor. The person who voted against you the previous time may now vote for you. Or the person who voted for you the last time may now vote against you. It is for you to behave in a way to attract votes to you. That should be your concentration. That's against issuing threats to people. He should be invited by the police. Anybody in this hours to the election, anybody who makes any reckless statement from whichever side of the party, of the parties, should be invited by the police. And I must commend the police, the IGP, because since he came into office, look at the things that the police is doing. The number of arrests they are making, the criminal people, gangs that they are being busted, the armed robbers that they are dealing with. I mean, the IGP is doing well. We must commend him. And it should go further. If any politician anywhere in Ghana from any political party makes a reckless statement, you should invite the person. You should invite the person and deal with him and let us.
I see you are very annoyed.
I'm annoyed. Because you are what? The West and then you issue threats.
The thing has come to a stalemate.
Yes. Nobody has the pink sheets.
It has come to a stalemate.
But it's interesting how the NDC doesn't have the pink sheet, the NPP does, and the Electoral Commission of Ghana doesn't have the pink sheet.
No, so if you go into it, it is like they have agreed that we don't have the pink sheet because everybody has a different pink sheet.
Yes. They manufacture the pink sheets.
Different pink sheets. What's the EC's pink sheet?
EC, and that was why if you go into the matter, which we don't want to go into right now, some pink sheets came. Then another pink sheet appeared. And then now there were questions about signatures, and these are some of the things that have created all these problems. So now it boils down to the party sitting down and saying, okay, you know something? The issues with polling stations we had contentions with were 37. Okay. So this number, let us accept it. We both agree. But as for this 19, we all agree we can't accept it. And the parties agreed. So you see, if you go into the matter, there's more to it.
Yeah.
More to it. And if you go into the details and those ones, it shows you that there was all kinds of complicities and all kinds of dealings that went on.
Yeah.
You know? So the important thing is that all that has passed. We've got to a point where the Electoral Commission is organizing the election. After all, it's just, you know, the election will go on and the rest of the country won't even notice that there is an election.
19.
Life will go on. People will be running their businesses. People will be going about their lives. There will be no disruption. Everything will be peaceful and going on. Only 19 police stations.
Yeah.
And knowing the way police stations are in Ghana, you can go to one school, and on the veranda of the school you have 4 polling stations.
Yes.
A, B, C, D on just the veranda of one school. So you find that the election may be held in just a very small area in the constituency. That even other members of the constituency may not even they may not even notice that there's anything going on. Then because of that, somebody will issue a threat. A threat. The police should invite him.
Simplicity. Honorable, in the case that the election is, of course, it will be held tomorrow. The rerun of these 19 constituencies will be held tomorrow. A winner would be announced. Can the MPP decide that they'll go to court to injunct the swearing in of whoever becomes in the event that their candidate does not win?
On what basis?
on this very basis. I mean, according to them, the EC said they needed protection. I mean, they had the results, and then they needed protection to collate the rest. I think for about 3 polling stations or so. And now we are hearing 19. At a point we had 60-something, 67, 30-something, 19. And so on these bases, that there's a whole, you know,
it's this whole jurisprudence that has emerged during the time of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo on election matters has thrown a whole election regime into
disarray.
First of all, the law, even though when you go to challenge the swearing in or the election of a person, you will say that an interim injunction be granted to restrain. The courts were not predisposed to granting interim injunctions. They will tell you to put your case across, and then if you succeed, then they will grant you a permanent injunction against that person. They declare the election of that person null and void, and perpetually injunct that person from holding himself or herself out as the elected office, member of parliament, and then declare you a winner. If they want a rerun of the election, they declare that the election be rerun. But somehow the jurisprudence turned. That's why I describe it as a jurisprudence of convenience. It turned on its head, because if there are wrongdoings in an election, and a candidate has been elected who, in the view of the aggrieved party, is not the right candidate to have been elected, the procedure says go to court. And they determine that. Now, but you see, again, the Electoral Commission, I have never come to appreciate why the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Mensah, refused, neglected, or failed to take the witness box and account to the people of Ghana how she conducted the 2020 elections.
Right. Honorable, we'll get into that. Let's go for a short breather. We have an ad to play at 9:15. Of course, we need to do that. Once we are back, Honorable Inusa would continue with a submission on the failure of the Electoral Commissioner to get into the witness box. And she still doesn't go to Parliament, by the way. She still does not go to Parliament. After this short break, we'll get into that. Do stay.
Hello, Madam Bola. How are you and how is Lagos?
Kwame, Lagos day. How is Accra?
Accra is fine. We can't complain. Are my fabrics on the way?
Yes, sir. I hope my money is also on the way.
As we speak, my accountant is sending money to you and others at GCB.
Money don't enter.
That is a lifesaver.
Yeah, Lady D. What's up, baby?
Tia, I got the money.
Oh, that's beautiful. It was fast.
Oh, and guess what? It was so easy and faster than I thought.
I'm busy right now. Let me call you back later, yeah? All right. Love you, baby.
See you soon. Bye.
From country to country, make seamless transactions across Africa with GCB. For more information on PABs and how to get started, call toll-free on 0800 422 422.
GCB, your bank for life.
Right, welcome back. GCB is your bank for life. But before that break, we're having that conversation about the Electoral Commission at the Ablum North election. But we also veered into the fact that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, has on several occasions failed to appear, even before Parliament. Recently, I think just 2 weeks ago, she was supposed to. She didn't do that. I think some members of Parliament didn't like the fact that it was Bosman Asari who was representing her. But again, I don't know why that is.
Because they don't want to accountability. They don't want to account. And somehow they are shielding her. When she changed the results after announcing publicly that Nana Akufo-Addo had won by a certain percentage, and it was demonstrated to her that her percentage could not be correct, they issued a statement changing the results. Go back and look at the statement. Who signed the statement? Who signed the statement? And so, for the Electoral Commission, I think that we should be drafting petitions for her removal by now, if the petitions have not gone. Because I just think that they're not fit for purpose. They are not fit for purpose. Charlotte said didn't do 1/4 of this. And then she was removed from office. So, no. It's an embarrassment to our democracy. The whole Electoral Commission as presently constituted is an embarrassment to our democratic experience. And so they should go and better people will come and manage it. Yeah.
Simplicity. Right. I'll do a few messages.
But I just want to make a point.
Right.
I try to play the devil's advocate. So, in the case of Madame Jean Mensah, yes, she hasn't appeared in Parliament. I don't know where she was when Bosman Asari came and represented her. Maybe she was out of the country. So, that's all I'll say for her. That maybe it was not necessarily intentional, because if it was intentional, that would be just too bad. But I would just want to play the devil's advocate by saying that maybe due to circumstances beyond her control, she could not be present.
Well, right. Let me get into some of the messages that you have shared with me. Good morning, Pan-African TV. I'm watching you live from Kojope in the Savannah. Kojope in the Savannah region. Thanks so much for the good work. I am Conlan Jara. All right, Conlan, thank you for your message. Bless, what a funny country. Somebody made a dangerous threat on the coming on the elections, and the police has refused to invite the person for questioning. The police want somebody to lose their life on the D-Day before inviting the so-called culprits. Hey, Ghana. Sami Nadenta sent this one. Thank you. Good morning. The hypocrisy of the MPP cohorts has come to fore. They are now the people touting the incompetence of the EC. Are they not the people who have been defending Jane Mensah since she assumed office? What has changed now? They should bow down their heads in shame. Nana Kakari from Techiman. Thank you, Nana, for your message. Bless, for a deputy chair of Ghana's EC to be in parliament and say something under oath, only for the EC to turn around and do something different without any communique or press conference by now to clarify the reasons for the U-turn, it's regrettable and condemnable, to say the least. The conduct of the deputy EC chair in itself constitutes perjury, but without even talking about the legal consequence of such a conduct, I think the morally right thing to do was for the EC to immediately clarify the reason for the U-turn that may possibly water down the effect of being cited for perjury. That notwithstanding, the sophisticated and wise electorates sympathetic to the MPP should defy the order of their leadership to participate in the election to determine who represents them in parliament. So Dennis Wakwete, thank you, Dennis, for your message. Good morning, Pan-Africa TV. Tell me, if it were Bantama constituency in Kumasi, would they go to court to stop the rerun? Albert from Dansuman, right? Thank you, Albert, for your message. K from Simpa says, good morning, Bless and panel. Please, in case the MPP boycotts the Ablum North rerun, would they do same to Akwitia, the emerging by elections? Right, since it was also a disputed seat. All right, that's a good question. Thank you. This one here also says that, good morning, the General Secretary of the MPP has suddenly joined the calls for the removal of the EC officers for their malfeasance by describing the EC decision as bizarre. Hypocrisy is like pregnancy. No matter the days you hide it, it would eventually expose itself. The man Justin has exposed his hypocrisy publicly. The NDC has a chance to win the seat to silence the micro-minority. Democracy is not a game of nepotistic mindedness. Baba Gomda from Kumbungu. Thank you, Baba. Good morning to Patrick Ingetia. Latele Laye says they have no leadership to direct them. Confused bunch. I'm sure you I don't know, but I'm sure you're referring to the MPP. Nasco Fufu says EC must be careful. All right, thank you very much. He says greetings to Honorable Dauda Yusuf Yakubu from Salvation. All right, Yakubu Seidu says, good morning, Pan-African TV. I think EC should be removed. Seidu from Mama Saman. Thank you, Seidu, for your message. Good morning to Abdul Kadri Karim Haruna. Salam alaikum. And Ida Boy. All right, thank you so much for your messages. Let's proceed to our next topic for conversation. It has got to do with the Chief Justice, Madam Gertrude Araba Isabatokono. There's an interesting way that one of the newspapers has captured the story. I think it's the Hawk. Do I have it here? It says, Araba ditches Ghana's courts, runs to ECOWAS. Suspended Chief Justice takes Republic to Nigeria after crying foul over removal process. It appears that the Chief Justice is leaving no stone unturned in a quest to reverse that decision. I mean, the process, I mean, the entire process. But Honorable Unit Officer, you are a lawyer, a senior member at the bar, and I'm sure what if a decision is taken at the ECOWAS court which a decision that is contrary to the decisions taken here by the Supreme Court of Ghana on this particular matter, or in this particular case of the Chief Justice, is it binding on us?
No. It's advisory.
Okay.
It's advisory. It's an advisory decision. And then so government, and because we have a treaty, there's a treaty obligation on Ghana to respect the decisions of the court. The courts will take note of that decision. I mean, when an application is put before the Supreme Court. But I mean, when you look at the court structure of Ghana, particularly Article 125 of the Constitution, clearly ECOWAS court is not part of it. But there is a treaty obligation imposed on Ghana to respect the decisions of the ECOWAS court. And so that's why, and because we are a community of nations who have decided to establish that jurisdiction for the ECOWAS court, we have a duty to respect that decision. But to say that it has legal binding consequences on us will be carrying it too far. Yes, but you see, I've read Falana's writ at the Femi Falana, that's her lawyer at the ECOWAS court, and clearly the whole matter, apart from the compensation claim of the Chief Justice for $10 million for reputational damage and loss of dignity, appears to be founded on human rights violations. Now, as we speak, I'm also aware that the Chief Justice has two applications in Ghana, in the Ghana courts, the Supreme Court and the High Courts. And the ECOWAS court will normally tell you to exhaust local remedies before you come to them. I mean, there must not be remedies available to you unless you can demonstrate that the courts are so oppressive that you won't get those remedies. Unless you can demonstrate that. And then when I read the read, I didn't see that in the read of Falana. That look, what she's saying is that it appears that whatever she does, she wouldn't have justice in the matter. The doors are foreclosed to her, and that's why she's running here. So we're yet to get the response of the Attorney General. Attorney General has some number of days, I think 5 or so days, to respond to the interim measures. Interim measures, she's also requesting that the committee should stop proceedings until the determination of the case. Because it's an international court and not a local court, we don't say an interim injunction. You say give interim measures. And the interim measures are the what the Attorney General would respond to, and has about 30 days within which to respond to the substantive matter. Now, what I would say is that it appears to me that the suspended Chief Justice has lost the case outright, because we must all understand that she has no right not to be removed from office. I think I need to state it again. The suspended Chief Justice hasn't got any right, real or imagined, not to be removed from office.
There isn't any form of immunity.
No, for such removal. And you see, and because she has no such right, she can only demonstrate that her rights are being violated if the procedure provided for her removal are flouted. That's the only thing. Because the Constitution itself, which I'm holding here, provides for her removal and the removal of any justice of the Superior Court of Judicature and the chairman of a regional tribunal. Because the chairman of the regional tribunal were put on the same level with justices of the Superior Court of Judicature. And I have said and time again that, and it is supported by the decision in Ajechum, that where the procedure has been followed to the letter, all you need to do as a country or as a person appearing before the committee is to await the recommendation of the committee. The Chief Justice,
the final outcome.
The final outcome. The Chief Justice is creating the impression that she knows the outcome of the committee's work. I mean, how can that be? I mean, and her beef appears to be with the chairman of the committee, Justice Foreman.
Yeah.
And how that can be a beef itself, I simply cannot tell. But there are 4 other people on the committee.
On the committee, yeah.
4 other people, and this is a democratic country. And if the decision, just like decisions are taken at the Supreme Court, it can be unanimous, or it can be by majority decision and a recommendation. It can be. I mean, even the prima facie was not a unanimous decision of the Council of State, was it? No. So I simply think that the Chief Justice is up to a game, and the game is more steeped in politics than in law. You look at her press conferences, you look at her continuous strenuous attempt to make proceedings of the committee public against the express provisions of the Constitution.
Yeah.
You look at her appeal to emotionalism.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, and in order to court public sympathy and raise public sentiments against the committee. You look
but is it working, by the way? Is she getting the public sympathy, by the way?
Whether it's working or not, you can see that she's redoubling her steps. She's redoubling her steps.
No, I think it's working. But what I'm not sure is whether it's working for her or against her.
Okay, I like that. I like that. You know, and throughout, I mean, when she wrote to the president for the petitions to be made available to her and asked for 7 days for her response, she leaked her own letter to the media. The president deprecated and condemned that. She asked for 10 days, 7 days. The president gave her 10 days. And the president, John Dramani Mahama, has restrained himself from commenting on this matter, because he wants to follow the law. He respects the fidelity of the law. And what I simply fail to understand is this Article 146. It was used against Loretta Lamte the first time. Then it was used against Charlotte Osei. And there were attempts to use it against many other justices of the Supreme Court of Judicature and even a former Chief Justice. Even Tokuno herself. Article 146 was used against her by KOKU Azar. And London, we are here. This Constitution says that, look, you have security of tenure. Once you are appointed, you cannot be removed from office. Once you are appointed a justice of the Supreme Court of Judicature, you cannot be removed from office, except on 3 conditions. 1, stated misbehavior. 2, incompetence. 3, infirmity of body and mind. So if you receive petitions for your removal, if I were a lawyer advising her, immediately you receive the petition, all you should be doing is you put your binoculars on and look at the petition against the baseline. Does it disclose misbehavior? Does it disclose incompetence? Does it disclose or does it talk about infirmity of body or mind? Because these are only the 3 grounds.
Yeah.
No any other ground. And the president cannot decide that, oh, you are incompetent. The president's jurisdiction to refer the petition to you if the petition affects the justice of the Supreme Court of Judicature or to the Council of State is by a petition by an ordinary citizen of this country. You see how they, anytime I read Article 146, I say, But the drafters of the Constitution, why did they tie the hands of the president like that? And I answer my own question. It was to protect
the independence of the judiciary.
Yeah.
So why is she doing? When she was appointed Chief Justice, she didn't know that there was Article 146 in the Constitution. And she didn't know that if she brought herself within the ambit of Article 146.1, she would be removed from office. I just don't know, understand. Anyway, let her go to the Court of Appeal. All that is happening is delaying the process. Because I have a feeling that if she were not putting spokes in the process, by this time
would have been concluded. Concluded.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Langdon, let's hear from you, sir.
Well, this matter, like I always say, I'm not too comfortable discussing it because, one, it is a very technical legal matter. And I'm not a lawyer. And there are political aspects of it which, it begins to, assume some political dimensions that I also don't want to go into. So I feel very, very, very uncomfortable discussing this matter. I just want some information. The ECOWAS court is different from the ECOWAS Court of Human Rights in Banjul, or that's African Court of Human Rights? African Court of Human Rights, okay. I just wanted to get that distinction, yeah.
In Arusha. Okay. No, there's one in Arusha, actually.
One in Arusha? There's another one in Banjul. Okay.
Arusha.
So, yes, it is her prerogative to do that, and she has sent it there. I just hope that the matter is resolved quickly. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help all of us. It doesn't help all of us at all. I mean, it is being dragged, and I still keep feeling very sorry about the press conference that was held. That also introduced more of the gave a political, it has attracted all kinds of commentaries into this conversation, which could have saved all of us the trouble. So I'll just hope that, she can proceed on the remedies that she so chooses. And the system will follow its own course. And then in the end, it will be resolved one way or the other. But I think some of the steps taken, in my lay opinion, have not been very helpful to the case.
Yeah.
That's my position.
All right. Well, so how long could it take? I mean, the case she's taken to the ECOWAS court.
I'm just giving you. I'm just giving you. First of all, she's asking for interim measures, and that interim measures, the Attorney General will file a response to the interim measures. The application for interim measures. I mean, for all what we know is application for injunction. Interim measures. She's asking the court to stop the committee from hearing the matter, and so that's interim measures. Now, the Attorney General has about 5 days to respond to that one. Now, the Attorney General then has 30 days to respond to the substantive matter, the writ, and it will go through.
But since, like, we've already established that it is not binding, it means that the case over here could still continue without necessarily.
The case will continue. What will stop the case from continuing? First of all, there is no interim measures. Which the court is obliged to respect. Okay, there's no interim.
There's no obligation.
There's no obligation.
Yeah.
Okay, and like I said, the decision of that court is advisory. Okay, so
under the circumstances, it seems even unlikely that they can actually even stay the local procedure.
It's very unlikely. Unless you can demonstrate that the local procedure has not taken into account certain things that it ought to have.
She's talking about reputational damage and asking for.
But if you are removing a chief justice from office, this is not reputational damage. Go and exhume Akukosa. Nkrumah removed him from, and he will tell you how the reputational damage he suffered.
It goes to the office.
Seeking $10 million.
She said, yeah, for reputational damage.
But that is a natural human right everybody has.
Yeah.
And anybody holding any high office,
Right.
you should know that one, you can be removed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you are removed, depending on what happens, how you handle yourself, and the grounds upon which you are removed, you can suffer reputational damage. And that is for you to manage. You know. So my point in some of these matters is that, look, at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to how the office holder conducts the business of that office while in office. That is what it boils down to. Because look, if you have occupied your position in a way, and tomorrow somebody says they are removing you, you can come out with, you can come out smelling like roses.
Yeah.
At the same time too, you could come out smelling like something else. Depending on how you handle the situation.
Yeah.
You know, so, well, anyway.
Well, I'll look into a few messages. We have lots of viewers on our YouTube. Let me acknowledge them. Nancy, you are doing the watching. Thank you so much. Idris Sumumuni says, shouldn't EC be held responsible for the missing documents? Shame. Hudo Commission, you also doing the watching. She says, very fortunate to have had the opportunity of listening to Honorable Inusa on this matter. My chief, my boss, my mentor. All right, Hudu sent this one. All right, let's go to WhatsApp as well. This one here says, good morning, Bless. Now the MPP's chickens have come home to roost as they were slapped with their injunction dismissal by an Accra High Court yesterday. Bless, the situation would have been different if Gertrude Tokonu was not suspended. Is it not bizarre that the MPP has now joined the chorus for the removal of the Jane Mensah-led EC when Jane Mensah was doing the bidding of the MPP, they were happy. So why are they crying foul now? As for the beleaguered Gertrude Tokonu, she can go to the Hague, but nobody cares. Has Gertrude Tokonu suddenly lost confidence in the judiciary she once headed? I'm happy H.E. Mahama has not breached any of the Article 146 provisions. Bless, I can't wait to see the removal of Gertrude Tokonu. She has been an existential threat to our judiciary. Good morning to your panelists, Charles Champons from Sefi in the Western North region. Thank you, Charles, for your message. A hearty good morning to Mr. Stephen Peng doing the watching all the way from Wine. He says, good morning, Bless. MPP boycotted the 1992 general elections and have not learned lessons from that ill-conceived decision. Ablum North constituency elections will go ahead without the MPP. I even hope the MPP will boycott the 2020 general elections. For Akwitia by-elections, I advise them to stay off because it's foregone for the NDC. The micro-minority leader, Penyo Makina, so far muddied the waters for the MPP. Stephen Peng. Thank you, Mr. Stephen Peng, and thank you so much for always having our time. Good morning. A hearty good morning to Juliet. Juliet is also doing the watching. Yep, Juliet Ifiasa Apia. Hearty good morning to you. This one here also says, good morning, Bless. Okay, I think I've read this one. Good morning to you and your able panelists. The suspended Chief Justice is not above the laws of the country. She can go to hell. Article 146 would determine her fate. Whether local or ECOWAS, the Constitution will talk. From Amos in Asinfo. So thank you, Amos, for your message. This one here says, good morning. Maybe former President Akufo-Addo, when making her Chief Justice, told her the office is her bona fide property. Well, okay, the Tokonu family is a very decent family. The suspended Chief Justice should stop dragging the family's name in the mud. Okay, God bless you with more strength and wisdom. The CJ is doing these things to protect or cover those who have wasted the nation's resources and not to be exposed by the current administration. Please, President should not fear, for God is with him, provided he is speaking the truth. CJ is just a wonderful woman like our former CJ Georgina Wood. Why is she still in office? If she acted the way she did. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Mama Nancy, you sent this one. This one here says, I would like to know when the impeachment against the CJ started. Eyes are watching. Samuel from Seshi. All right, thank you, Samuel. Let me read this final one. Good morning, Pan-African TV. There's an aphorism that says a dying child will still die even if you place it in the Pope's pocket. All this running to and fro by the Chief Justice won't amount to anything. How can she tell me a birth certificate doesn't warrant my nationality? Then what else can? Why is the government pampering this woman? Remove her, let's have our peace. A Kobe from Kumasi. Right, interesting axiom that a child will still, if a child will die. If you put the child in the Pope's pocket.
But, you know, just, something just came to my mind. I just wanted to express my condolences to the family of the late MP.
Right, the former MP, the Akwetia MP. Right.
Akwetia MP. Condolences. I never knew him, I never met him, but it is sad that prominent young man. I remember some years back, we were having such difficulties in Parliament. And I thought Parliament make an effort, considering the fact that there's a lot of pressure on the members.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a clinic that was set up in at Parliament.
Yeah, still there.
And all that.
Yeah.
You know, so my condolences to him. I mean, I think work pressure plus other pressures may have taken their toll. And those people who are beginning to accuse other people of being responsible, please, they should refrain from those things.
We have been told by the International Monetary Fund that government should reduce its intervention in the forex market. What does this mean? Does it mean that there's a deliberate control of the dollar? There's a so whereby we are deliberately, you know, controlling the dollar in order to ensure that it stays where it is. Of course, the president has come to tell us that the true value of the cedi against the dollar is between 10 to 12 Ghana cedis per dollar. The IMF is telling us that we should just let things to be. Otherwise, we are creating an artificial, you know, it appears that the cedi's strength is artificial and not natural. Some people have also opined that if that would actually make the cedi strong, then we should go ahead with it. What do you think, Honorable?
Government is not fixing the exchange rate of the cedi. IMF must get it right. Government is not fixing the exchange rate of the cedi. Unless IMF is saying that government should hoard the dollars that we have. You see, what is simply happening is that, you know, there are a lot of international investors in this country. They repatriate legally their profits. All the mobile phone that you have been making. Every year, Vodafone, MTN, and all they declare their profits. They are by law allowed to transfer part of their profit back to their head office. And they don't transfer the money in cedis. They transfer the money in dollars. Those investors who have come, the mining companies and all those things, are allowed. Okay? Those who have come to set up trading businesses and met the investment laws in this country are allowed. And me and you, if we are going to travel to China to buy goods, we take dollars. We are allowed to go to the bank and show that we are going to travel. If you are going to travel today and you have your visa and you go to the bank and show the bank that you are going to travel, you are allowed by law to take $10,000 and go. Now, what has happened? Under John Dramani Mahama, visionary John Dramani Mahama, we didn't use to control our natural resource. And you must also understand that any nation on earth has an absolute right to determine how they want to control their natural resources or how they want to treat their natural resources. So, since coming into office till end of June, government has been able to rake in about $5 billion from the small-scale mining sector. How did they do it? By controlling the small-scale mining sector through the Ghana Gold Board. Anybody who wants to buy gold, we are not saying you can't buy gold in Ghana. There are now determined routes that you have to take. You must lodge your dollars in Bank of Ghana. And then the gold will be supplied to you through the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Gold Board. So we are getting the money. The leakages are not there. Can you imagine that? And then we went to the IMF for $3 billion. And in six months, we have been able to generate by ourselves $5 billion. And we're still trying to close all the loopholes. If we succeed, can you imagine what that will mean? So the dollars are there. Our international reserves are more than 6 months now. We have a lot of gold in the central bank. So people, man, your economics 101. When things are in abundance, the price what? So now no speculative buying. Everybody knows that today if you have your visa, walk to any bank and say I'm traveling, this is my visa, I want dollars. They'll tell you the exchange rate. Then you provide them and they'll give you your dollars and you go. You don't need to go and see anybody and go to the manager's office and plead with him. No. So the price of the dollar the city has stabilized. I don't know what the IMF means that we should. Ghana is not fixing the price of the city. No, we are not. We are not. And when you see that we are not generating enough dollars, or we are not meeting our international. So many years ago, people used to go to the Bank of Ghana and negotiate and negotiate for the dollars. Today you don't need to. We have it. I remember when in 1 year we got this money from KOKU, and the KOKU board was going to sell the dollars and auction the dollars higher than the prevailing rates.
That was when they just fixed.
But now you don't. People even there was somebody who bought something for me in dollars, and at that time that he was buying the dollar was 15 cedis per. The cedi was 50 cedis per dollar. Now when he came, and I said, okay, so I'm going to I also change dollars to pay. He said, no. I bought it with so and so cedis, so I want my cedis back. Just yesterday, somebody was going to travel. The family was going to travel to Dubai, and they got the ticket. You know what? 998 per person. And when we calculated the 3 people, it was 31,000. What's that? $3,000.
Yeah.
That was 45,000.
Yeah. So yeah. That's about 30% off. 33%. Yeah. Off. Yeah.
Can you imagine? And that's the same city.
Yeah.
So you see, the World Bank is not understanding what we are doing. But every nation that has a currency which is internationalized will need to control how the dollars, because of the weight, how the dollars or other foreign currencies are available. That's why China is struggling to make the yuan, the Chinese, RMB, international.
Yeah, right. Mr. Philip Landon, let's hear you. That would wrap up the conversation.
Yeah, these IMF people, I've always looked at them with some level of suspicion. I remember when President Kufuor was exiting, he received some of the highest praise for his economic management. We all felt it. We saw how the city stabilized, and during those days too, there was no problem. Nobody was interested in dollars. Everybody was happy to do their transactions in cedis. After a few months, when President Mills took over, the same IMF came back and said, a certain statement they had issued not long before President Kufuor, it was a mistake, but the economy was very, very bad. And that President Mills should be careful. Well, President Mahama came, they considered them the same government. After President Mahama left, just before he was going, he left. Oh, the previous government was so bad. So bad. That's the IMF. Today, they are warning the government that the interventions they should stop, trying to, as it were, control. So in short, what they are saying is that this level that is being achieved is artificial. That is the long and short of what the IMF is saying. You see, my brother has just given us many of the indicators that have led to where we are today. Take today's front page graphic. Natural gas supply to increase by Sunday.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Natural gas supply to increase by Sunday. It means that the gas supply is being increased by about 12%. It's very significant though. 12%. Now, where is this natural gas going? It's going into our electricity production. If we didn't have this natural gas supply, what would we have been doing? We would have been importing crude oil to fuel our power plants. So that oil import is going to be reduced because we are having more energy to power our power plants. Now, fueling the power plants means more stable power supply, more stable economic development, less outages, and therefore there will be a reflection in the economy. So these two issues, the reduction in the import of oil, is going to have a reflection on our exchange rate because the dollars that we will need to import that oil is down. This gas is a local production. So there is going to be less pressure. So as an ordinary businessman like myself, I'm looking, I'll know that the dollar, if it's at 10 cedis, it could drop to about 9 cedis. These are
this story alone.
These are realities and these are the facts. It has nothing to do with which government is in power. The fact that power energy supply is increasing, and it could eventually reflect on the price of electricity. Because as we are also hearing, more fields are being discovered. There's going to be more gas. I understand there's going to be another gas plant to be developed. We're going to look for some business there too. No, seriously. Another gas plant is being developed. And all this is good news for the economy. Yeah. Look, Nigeria, in the 70s, when their oil boom started, do you know that Nigeria economy virtually subsidized the British economy? 75 to 77. Britain went to IMF. It was the Nigerian economy that subsidized the UK. Because the ailing companies in Britain, all they have to do is go and do a sales promotion in Nigeria, and the orders they get just boost their production. And the naira was so strong that the money just goes to them. They encourage Nigeria, especially the businessmen and the politicians, to come and save money in Britain, come and buy property in Britain. I mean, there were promotions for Nigerian families to travel to the UK to do shopping over the weekend. And the shopping that one Nigerian family would do, you need 20 British families to do half of that. So that is how it was. So Ghana, we are getting to a stage where we will keep our eyes on the government to give us good governance. We won't joke with that one.
Yeah. Right.
with the good governance, if these things come and they are managed well, it will reflect on all of us. Yeah. It will reflect on all of us. And then the exchange rate will continue to drop. Our CD will become more valuable, and others will be coming to start chasing our CDs.
Right. Thank you so much. My time is up. It's 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Philip London. Thank you, Honorable Yunusa, for your time this morning. And to our cherished viewers, those of you who watched on YouTube, scores of you did, and those of you who watched on Facebook, thank you so much. Those of you watching from home and all parts of the world, thank you so much for your time. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.